I mean, I woke up in a Rex shirt. I don't know what to tell you. So, here's my thoughts for today. Joe Brady is a presser today. Believe at noon. I could be wrong. Might be 10 a.m. I don't know. I forgot already. Point being, problem I have with coaching changes. And if you look at the drought Bills, I use the drought Bills as like an example of, hey, we're not that stupid. We've seen coaches and player personnel and stuff, square pegs, smashing around holes and telling us, hey, everything's fine. What are you guys talking about? We're football guys. This is what we do. Yup. I know, we don't watch any other teams around the league. So on the real talk spectrum of all this, the issue I have with coaching changes, and this is again a couple days after the announcement of Joe Brady, being announced as Bills head coach. I'm really excited for it, as in it's something interesting to cover. McDermott, all due respect, I felt he was just stiff. And the thing is a great coach doesn't mean he's great in the media. And we have to divide like the theater kids versus the blue collar worker type. I mean, football is based off of like war, okay? So McDermott has that. Unfortunately, when I think your franchise in the Bills is painting everything is okay in Disneyland under the Bills, I gotta look at it like, hey, sometimes it's not going to match what's actually going on, as we saw with Terry Pagula and Brandon Beane's presser. I mean, that was just egg on their face. And then exhaustive search, I'm like, hey, we need to have Josh Allen playing as fast as possible in this window, taught an offense that he can help teach. These players got to come in and win now. I mean, how many years does Josh Allen have? And when you announce Joe Brady as head coach, a lot of people like me are like, wait a second, he's been hurt more than ever. But as I've said in a lot of videos lately, I don't know if Josh Allen is a sacred cow. There is a video from Cover One about Josh Allen about 4 or 5 weeks ago. I will put it in the description. It came out, I believe, before playoffs. And also, there's something with Tom Brady where during a game, he's like, hey, we could have taken that throw. And something about in the Cover One piece, I'm losing my train of thought here. Something about Josh Allen's throwing the ball away more than holding on to it type thing, okay? And when you invert the stats of sacks taken last year versus this season, it's really inverted when you add away how many times you got rid of the ball or threw it away or something. Again, over my head, hoping I have the link here if I don't forget. 3-minute mark, noting to myself that I'll forget. So with Joe Brady coming in, maybe just give the Bills the benefit of the doubt. This is what I want to get into. What if you come to work and people say, you know what? They make millions of dollars. Cool. We've all made, I mean, maybe not all, but some of us have made some good money, or you got into a spot in life and you're like, this ain't it. That could be your driver's license. That could be anything. Virginity, whatever it is. You can be, wow, this is overrated. And maybe because we saw a bunch of smoke with Tyler Dunn's piece a few years back, Diggs last season, and we also saw when Joe Brady took over, Diggs was phased out. And if you look at the targets, no. Because remember, this is modern sports. They have access to stats. They know more than we do. So if you got to sell this, you still give them the targets. It's just you give them the Shakir targets. That's all. Granted, was Diggs throwing a screen last game? Yup. Did it fail? Yup. Does the Bills screen game actually work? Yes, it does. It's a common joke. Am I backpedaling because Brady's the coach now and I got to support him? I mean, a small percent. Just trying to be honest here. Not going to lie to you that much. So here's where I'm at. Maybe that place was a toxic, stiff a work environment. And when you look in the article, it's almost like from Tyler Dunn years back, Sean McDermott just wanted to win at all costs. But Sean McDermott fell on his face with a few things trying to be a leader. And I think he might have reached, for example, I'm just a freaking guy. I listen to Jim Rome. I grew up watching Sports Center. I love sports radio. It can be great. But after being lied to since I was like, my dad loves sports radio since I was a kid, after a while I gotta go, there's more to this nut, right? And I learned about public relations. And Sean McDermott to us, trust the process. It's just like, oh, okay, don't question anything. Great, you gotta have a tagline. You gotta be patient. And he gets a 5-year contract. Imagine if Shane Gailey had 5 years. That would have been in heaven. Oh, he sucked. He had one stash. I get it. Point being, if McDermott's a stiff, right, and you walk into work and it just sucks, maybe players don't want to go to Buffalo. Maybe it does suck. Maybe Diggs was onto something. Maybe some players are onto something. Jerry Hughes' tweet, we touched last video. Go check it out. I'm not uploading that little picture. Okay? He mentioned he thought 13 seconds after 13 seconds running prevent the whole time. It was a joke. And that's why he dipped out of the Bills. Okay. Sit. So, on to the general manager. We're done with the shitty work environment talk. And McDermott's credit on that point, he tried to be, and that's why I was kind of looking at his term like cycle 2. Year 1 with the coach, you're going to have some growing pains. Year 1 through 5, right? We'll call it the first cycle. McDermott was on year 9. So my point to you is, he's trying to loosen up. He's like, oh, Josh, you Snow Angels. Yeah, I sure did. And he did. And it's cute. But, I don't like fabricated. I like authenticity. That's just me. So I call the Bills painting Disney. They always paint Disney. They got, the best media team, I feel like, of all the teams. Corny, fun. It's just really great. On to the general manager. Have made my feelings clear about Brandon Beane. I would never let him run my bank account. And my bank account was not really that easy to run for myself. So just letting you know, there could be worse people than me. And that's Brandon Beane. I've said it all the time. I am a Bills fan. I really like Josh Allen. Okay, let's make that clear. I'm a delinquent and have a Josh Allen tattoo from Alex at A Plus Tattoos in Hollywood, Florida. Just let you know. And good dude. And it's Josh Allen jumping in the Vikings game. Okay. So to give you the disclaimer, and I said he should have started game 1 rookie year. And in the draft, I said we should not take him because I did not think that Buffalo would be able to develop a quarterback. And when you put him behind A.J. McCarron and Peterman, and he's still outshining them in camp and in preseason, and you don't start him, okay, we're playing winning football. And with Josh Allen, he did the work with Jordan Palmer immediately and put in that work. So on training camp, everything else, and all the people, like my friend Scott, sitting next to him at games, he'd be like, hey, have you ever watched a play? I said, no, of course not. I didn't watch him in college. Like, no, I don't watch that. Why would I do research on? No. When I'm seeing a team that brought an E.J. Manuel, fell on his face, I called out at that time, how is his offensive coordinator and Nathaniel Hackett going to be double duty quarterbacks coach and offense coordinator, yeah, this quarterback's going to get developed. Kevin Cobb slips and hits his head on the freaking mat, and he's out. What's this have to do with brass tacks now? I'll tell you. Brandon Beane gave up so many picks, so many people who are already on the roster, and Sean McDermott too, that were signed under a contract and created holes. And I get it. Coaches got to get their guys in there. If you're such a good coach, what about the guys that are already under contract? Nicole Roby-Coleman, I think, is my favorite example. Reggie Ragland, that linebacker that was drafted, he never saw it down. He went to the Chiefs. He got traded to the Chiefs. I wasn't in media scrum that year, thanks to being lucky enough to go to training camp to cover one Eric. Thank you for getting me there. But it was really interesting. Because I asked Reggie Ragland, I go, hey, how's the transition from a 3-4 to a 4-3 going? And he said, not good. He was not on the team much longer. Okay? So, I always kind of wondered. And then the Bills are always desperate for a quarterback. And Sean McDermott traded for Trey White. Traded backwards with the Chiefs. And apparently, Pagula has always liked Mahomes. And there was a thought going around, too, that after he didn't pick Mahomes, that maybe it was Whaley. Maybe Whaley was like the fall guy. But there was also a report that Sean wanted to get his guy in there, Brandon Beane, right? So, if Sean McDermott ran that draft and you have Pro Bowlers from that draft, and then the only ones, which pop quiz me, from Brandon Beane would be Kincaid, Josh Allen, Cook. So, in Brandon Beane's defense, let's shift over that way. I see a lot of defensive resources. I've been saying it forever. Where's the money going? Where's the resources going? I'm a resource management person. That's my angle with this. It's like team build, Madden Ultimate Team Build philosophy. What's the system? What players actually fit that system? Can we bring in a coach that can work with these players? Or do they have to go and we have to create dead cap and then I have to hear for 2 to 3 years in media to bail their ass out? Oh, we got to learn the system. It's year 2. We got some new guys and blah, 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 blah. Okay, with Joe Brady here, I think it does offer something. They're going to run the continuity thing, all right? Another talking point, stock talking point if you've been watching football and sports whatever. Continuity, great. Super stoked on continuity. Okay, we're here. So the dust is settled. Joe Brady's the coach. How do I look at it? Well, as we started, if your workplace sucks, the leader of that workplace, Sean McNee, trying a little too hard in the leadership role. Don't want to mention 9/11. Don't want. There's some stuff you can research because he's a good. I think he's a good man. I'd work for the dude. But I get it. I was called names in construction for years. It made me better. All right. That's why we're here. If Joe Brady's like, wait a second, nah. Here's how to fix the team. Here's how I'd fix the team. That's really what they ask him in the interviews, right? How are you going to fix this fucking team, Joe Brady? Oh, here's what I'm going to do. What? I'm going to get Jim Leonard, former Buffalo Bill, in this building to run the defensive coordinator side. Okay. Hot name. Played in Rex Ryan's defense. Played with the Bills. So he's played in a 4-3, 3-4. He's coached a bunch. 4 years at Wisconsin. DC was interim coach, went 4-3. That could be the wrong college because, I got no prep sheet. What am I talking about? But he is on the defensive staff with our favorite, Sean Payton. And when I hear disciples of Sean Payton, I just think more swing passes, more short things, more I don't want you fucking guys offensively on the Bills. So, our boy Sean Payton, our favorite coach with a visor back in the day. He doesn't wear a visor now, never. I ripped on him. Didn't have a visor on because it's cold. So Jim Leonard worked with him as the passing game coordinator for defense. So I guess that's defensive passing game coordinator. Cool. They did good. So if you're looking for like a hot name, I think that's kind of cool, right? But I'm also on this like, hey, we have a Ferrari here in Josh Allen. I don't want to go through the 1 through 3 of learning. I want guys to go, hey, Greg Rousseau, what the fuck were you asked to do? Call Boogie Basham up too, actually, while you're at it. Hey, what are you doing, dude? I know you flamed out, but maybe the coach didn't give you a good shot. Like, what happened? Now, this leads into Jim Schwartz. I think Jim Schwartz, former Bills D coordinator, remember, that D line in the draw, I never thought exploded faster under Jim Schwartz. Players loved him. They were happy to play for him. But the only problem with Jim Schwartz is if they fire Joe Brady, Jim Schwartz is going to get his fucking dick kicked in again when they don't hire him as head coach. And it happened at the Bills. All right? Now it happened in Cleveland. And how the hell does he not get the Cleveland head coach job? Like, really? That's insane. Now, if you go get the Bills head coach job, you got to play ball with Bean. But again, to give credence, dust is settled, other side of the coin. I can't live in this shit of negativity forever because I was pissed at McDermott for only 9 years. Only 9 years. And I'm kind of like, okay, got some new life. Because I felt really dumb with McDermott. I felt really fucking stupid. It doesn't take 3 to 4 years for your quarterback to be good. Until they got Diggs, it wasn't good. And I thought that the people they put around Allen sucked. Peterman, McCarron. What front office and head coach says we need a quarterback that hasn't thrown for more than 800-something yards in NFL games to have our franchise horse quarterback to learn from? Yeah, I'm sure that's what Patty Mahomes did, right? I'm sure Alex Smith was that guy. No, Alex Smith was like thrown in my fucking garbage disposal, pull back out, and absolutely can show, hey, don't mind that media thing when the defense rolls it. What are you getting with Peterman? Hey, man, I am the worst quarterback in NFL fucking history. So that's Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott. So remember, when Keon Coleman's drafted, and that's thrown on the coaches wanted him, is that Joe Brady? That took up like 20% of your presser was Keon Coleman. And it's so funny because I called this Keon Coleman bullshit a long time ago. When I drafted him, I'm like, oh, wow, they're talking about his jacket. And then the next year, we're talking how he can't make it to fucking meetings. You're telling me Keon Coleman, if he put some game tape out there of being a defensive threat playing chess, you're telling me if we had a receiver who could do that. And Brandon Cooks was starting to. But for some reason, don't want to get into it, the offense barely looked at Brandon Cooks. I thought the last game, which I haven't even talked about, I thought that you would feature, let's throw it to Brandon Cooks, just stretch it out a little bit, even if we don't complete it. So Joe Brady and Keon Coleman and all this other shit, no one's talking about the dead cap that the Bills have, or I should say the lack of cap money. I do not have time to pull it up. That's future video. But they don't have enough money. They don't have much money. And us fans are sold, wow, Josh Allen. Who doesn't want to coach Josh Allen? Yo, Josh Allen's about it. This offensive line, that was the best part of the Bills. the best position group. The way you get us fans and other people, I guess, on board, or maybe you think you can teach and communicate to players, which, by the way, a lot of them won't even be on the Bills. There's sometimes a 30% turnover rate on these rosters, okay? So don't think that continuity means marketing. Is some of it true? Of course. Do I believe it? Yes. If I put on a pie chart, do I have an exact number? I put like 30% is continuity, 70% is, oh, fuck. Because next year, if Joe Brady doesn't do well, they're going to have more cap space. But Joe Brady, credit to him as a man, he must be organized. He is good in the media. As Sal Capaccio, what Jeremy White was saying, he is an assistant coach. He gives you nothing. Good communicator, good talker type, right? That's cool. And I think if you're leading the Bills and you got Josh Allen, who needs to step up, holding people accountable, guess what? Maybe Joe Brady's more chill because McDermott, apparently, according to Tyler Dunn and other people, I could be misquoting everybody, sorry, was willing to have the hard conversations with coaches. And that's good, but also there might be some extra in there too, I would think, right? So who knows when you're in the workforce or in a workplace, you just got this negative energy coming at you. I'm not really sure how I feel about it, and then having to go to work and do the extra. So what I'm wondering is, like, I'm not saying Keon Coleman's right for being late to practice, but like you have a locker room of players that aren't holding him accountable. You have a wide receiver room that, I mean, am I wrong? Am I behind the scenes? No. So are people just putting in their 40 hours and going home? Like, I don't know what's up. Can Joe Brady change that? Can he go, you know what? We got this work ethic already built in. Can I take this and play a little chess on offense? All right. And you know what the Bills will probably do? I don't know. Allegedly, by the time the Bills pick, there'll be 5 receivers gone. But they should definitely pick a wide receiver in the first round, run all the marketing for him, put all this pressure on him, and I really think it's going to be fun this year with the Bills and the cap. People like Milano, I believe, are free agents. It's going to be interesting because if Joe Brady could bring in a defensive coordinator like a Jim Schwartz, which could be on the table. If Jim Schwartz could come in and get that defense playing fast, defensive line specifically, it's been lacking. Mario Williams, I get it. It's Mario Williams. It wasn't an if he's going to get a sack, it's a when he's going to get a sack. I couldn't believe my eyes. And you see on the thing in the stadium, this Mario animation, Nintendo Super Mario thing, you know? Pretty neat. Pretty neat. So when Jerry Hughes comes out and says some shit, saying that I knew I couldn't take McDermott serious at the 13-second mark, it makes you go and wonder if McDermott is the best chess player in certain situations. I brought up last video more in depth about this, but the 13-second call, that could be deeper than surface level. That could be, if you want to go down rabbit holes, if you do believe the league is manipulated or not, which people just think they know how it would be. So that's why it's great talking about it. Oh, you know what? It's not. I know it's not. Yeah, I'm sure, dude. I'm sure you know it's not. It's okay. There's FBI cases on stuff in this book, Interference, it's touched on. And if you study how the league is built, how tied to gambling and all these rules, gray area rules that we just, keep wondering, wow, is that a catch? People are still going off. Wow, can you believe that's not a catch? It's the fucking NFL. Of course it didn't go the Bills' way. And if you really want to go that far, some people might say, well, maybe they want McDermott out. Maybe they just let it happen that way. Which I think is horseshit, because you have to allow people being humans, okay? Every crew is going to be different in refereeing. Does McDermott have a point of like, yeah, I thought this was a big deal? Yeah, it is. I don't want to hear we have to get to another game. That's a poor excuse. The fans can wait. They can watch it. It's playoff football. You're a fucking football fan? Don't want to hear about it. Don't want to hear about your kids having to go to school the next day. Nope. Not happening. All right? Sunday. So, where am I at with Joe Brady? How can he ring everything in, get Max Josh Allen, Sean McDermott's stats? I'm sorry. What receivers developed under anything Sean McDermott? Gabe Davis, playoffs. Fans couldn't wait to get rid of him. I don't know what his issue is. He gets hurt all the time. I think he's probably a workout warrior guy. I think he works out too much. That's just me because I'm a doctor. The sack numbers were just insane. And you got Joshua Palmer here next year. He's under contract. Remember the receiver that Brandon Bean said, oh, I just signed Joshua Palmer. And he was saying that to Jeremy and Joe on WGR the day after the draft. And that we should pipe down about receiver. And what do you... Okay, dude. And then he's sitting there like Pagula's baby, not even a year later. And Pagula has to step in with the bottle. Like, no, he didn't. No, that was the coach's pick, Keon Coleman. Yeah, I'm sure coaches would pick a guy who can't show up to work, is kind of a fucking funny dude. Probably a great dude to hang with. I probably not smoke once with him and play video games or something if he does that or not. You know, like, Keon, you're welcome over to the couch, dude. I know a guy. But when I'm playing my Madden game, Keon Coleman's not coming up for me, all right? When I open up Madden and I go, hey, who am I going to get the ball to? I go, wow, Kincaid? Well, he's not injured in the video game. That's great. Knox, they forgot about him once they fucking drafted Kincaid. I thought Knox was fine. Knox has made a lot of plays this year. I think he's Josh's relief valve this year. Kincaid, all due respect, buddy. You probably might want to join Keon with the blunts to get that swelling down so you could get back out there. I don't know what the fuck you're doing. You're always injured. Always injured. So Joshua Palmer, do you think I would look into how he could be used differently? No, he's been on the Bills. So Joe Brady, what the fuck is going to be done different? No, he's got a tight fade. Pat McAfee mentioned it. Pretty stoked on that. His barber does a wonderful job. Jay's Blended. Follow him on Instagram. Okay, and one thing with Joe Brady that I really like about his haircut, I used to get tight fades. I was a big tight fade connoisseur. Big tight fade connoisseur. Okay? I even had the chin strap. I go for it. But I didn't like the notches. Joe Brady owns the fucking notch. Alright? Respect. Joe Brady on the notch. So I'm excited for Joe Brady in a way of like, I don't have a, not in a way of I don't have a choice, but the decision's been made. And when I look at the drought, I looked at it at a time to go, you know what? We learned a lot as fans and how to build a team, how to win without a quarterback. And there's a lot of things under McDermott and Bean I've been really fucking mad about. We saw the Bills win without a quarterback for only years. Years. So then when the whole team runs through Allen and he's running and getting injured more than ever, getting tackled from behind, it looks like the league is caught up. But being objective, what if some people aren't putting the work on the offensive side? When Tom Brady says something, covering the game, and I think Tom Brady is the best. I really do when I'm watching the game and he's covering them. I think he's the best. I really do. I love the little details. When I would go watch Brady, eventually I just got to a point in the games, I'm like, he's a Hall of Famer, one of the best ever, if not. And you just see this big, especially when you're in the 300 level, you see all the space over top. And you're like, oh no. Oh no. And you're talking about a ball out in 2.5 seconds. 2 seconds. Mario Williams. Jerry Hughes. Darius Williams, right? So when I look at the Bills team, and Josh Allen's running around with his head chopped off after 3.5 seconds, I go, this ain't cool. This is not a sustainable offense. And I almost wonder if the coaching staff with Joe Brady, look, Joe Brady has to take opportunities. He's a man. He has to take an opportunity. I don't blame him for taking this job. Like, who wouldn't want this job? And your job is to sell Pagula and being like, no, I can work with what you have here. I know we're limited on resources. I can make it happen. And if you could bring in great teachers and streamline that process, just change that environment to fun. Get that word out from players like, yo, we got this coach here. You got to bring coaches that the players are going to come to. I'm down with Jim Leonard. I wasn't sure at first, but somebody who's been a part of NFL live action very recently, been a part of Rex Ryan defenses, been a part of Fox's defenses there in Denver. Like, I mean, which is totally different than Rex. I mean, it's just, that's great. And he's young enough where he can communicate. You need players to play. I thought Jim Schwartz would be a great hire for Bills as DC. And if it doesn't work out, maybe he is your in-house hire for Joe Brady to replace him if you need. That said, if Joe Brady's 35, congrats to him, younger than me. Wish him the best. Like, this is pretty cool. He gets this opportunity. But I'm hoping with this hire, there's more smoke and fire behind the scenes that we're being let on. And it comes down to what offensive genius is he going to hire. I mean, the O-line is the most important. It really is. And then you got to add these players buying into a new system. I don't want to hear about year 2 in the system, year 3. We got Josh Allen for a few years. People think he's going to play 5 to 10. You're not Josh Allen. You might not like the game that much. You know, a lot of people are like, man, who wouldn't want to do that? You see all that media at One Bills Drive. You don't think that takes time? So when you get this receiver first round and you run a bunch of media around him, and he's got to be in the playbook, and he's got to deal with his friends and family reaching out, and now he's got money. That's like, I mean, I'm not saying don't do that. That would be stupid not to get a receiver first round. Because, like, what else are you going to do? I don't know. Like, what? I'm just talking out of my ass, like always. So, if I was to think about something with this cap, I don't know how it works. I haven't looked over the free agent list. There could be guys that could be traded. Maybe there's a way a team eats some cap. Trade a pick with the contract to eat cap. That happens to many ways. I know Greg Thompson at Cover One considers himself great with the cap, if I'm not mistaken. So I would check that out. Check out Cover One content for, I would say, like, deep breaking. I don't understand. They already have a video about Jim Schwartz. Like, edited. I can't hang. Not trying to. Just here to talk about my ultimate Bills team build here. But Joe Brady, curious who he hires. It's going to be really fun. I would like to see players being developed. That would be really nice. Really cool. As far as people re-signing with the Bills, we're going to have to get into that. There's going to be a long list. That's all I got. I'll be back in touch after the press conference. Toodles.